What is a ship doing in the middle of the desert? You'd expect to find a sea vessel closer to the shore, right? That's the question archaeologists have been asking for decades. In 1988, a storm occurred near one of the most important archaeological sites in ancient Egypt, and a wooden structure appeared from beneath the sand, hollowed out by termites. The scientists were determined to solve this mystery, and in 2000 they began excavating the site near Abydos. Soon, an American team of experts discovered a 70-foot-long ship, and it wasn't alone. In total, there were 14 ships lined up next to each other. It was impossible to extract the ships completely because of their deteriorated condition, but fortunately the wood was preserved well enough to obtain a sample. Analyses revealed that these ships date back to around 5,000 years ago, making them the oldest known naval fleet in human history so far. They were built half a millennium before the pyramids of Giza, and each ship in the fleet rested in a vault that matched its dimensions. The room was about a third the size of a tennis court, and its mud brick walls contained more than 120 drawings of ships. The ancient Egyptians carved these drawings on white-painted walls, and they were excellently preserved. Scientists have known about these mysterious rooms for more than a century. In 1901 and 1902, a British archaeologist named Arthur Weil discovered a strange structure west of the Nile River. His team caught a glimpse of the inner walls, but unfortunately, part of the ceiling collapsed, forcing them to stop their exploration. The researchers left the site, but it remained marked on the maps. The first thing that puzzled the scientists was that the location of the ships made them think they were docked on the banks of the Great Nile River. But a problem appeared with this theory, as the river today passes about 7 miles west of Abydos. Subsequent studies of the surrounding terrain showed that the Nile River also did not change its course throughout history. If the ships were floating near a dock, they would have been in unstable positions, but the 14 ships in Abydos were perfectly parallel to each other. There was only one possible conclusion: someone deliberately placed them there. It took a lot of effort to accomplish that. Each ship had enough space for 30 rowers. These ships were actually capable of floating. They were not just models. However, scientists are still not sure whether they ever sailed on any body of water in ancient Egypt. This discovery does not diminish its significance. Previously, archaeologists had only found small, intact models of ships, like those found in the tomb of King Tutankhamun, where there were 35 ship models. For a long time, these models were the only evidence of what ancient Egyptian ships looked like. The design of the ships confirms that they were real. They are the oldest surviving examples of what are called built ships. Ancient people used to make primitive boats by hollowing out large tree trunks or by bundling reeds together, and they would form rafts. But the ships in Abydos were made from wooden planks tied together, which was a major advancement in shipbuilding at that time. During their period of use, the ships looked impressive. Wood was a valuable commodity at that time, and there was no wood in the desert. Cedar wood was imported from Lebanon. The only person who could afford such luxury was the pharaoh. Studying the area around the ancient fleet provided more answers. Scientists discovered a mud brick structure where the Egyptians worshipped the pharaoh. Its construction dates back to the same time as the wooden ships. The same mud bricks used to build this structure were also used to encase the fleet. During its construction, the rooms where the ships were stored had a roof. This is the part that was discovered by archaeologists in the early 20th century. Just like the mummies and the coffins, these magnificent ships were resting inside splendid tombs. The exterior part of these rooms was also amazing. The outer walls were covered with a layer of white lime that reflected the sunlight in the desert. The structure containing the ships must have shone from miles away. The ancient Egyptian builders used the same technique to cover the pyramids 500 years later. Today, the surfaces of the pyramids look rough, but they weren't always like that. When they were built, the pyramids were covered with a top layer of smooth white limestone, and their surfaces were smooth and shone in the sunlight. Instead of stairs, the outer surface of the pyramids was more like a smooth slope. Archaeologists were left with one final question: which pharaoh owned this fleet? The answer was just a mile away from the site, where the tomb of a 5th dynasty pharaoh lay, King Senefru III. The tomb's history and construction matched the ship chamber's style, which may explain how the ships ended up in the desert at the end of his reign. The pharaoh likely died in northern Egypt, and his body was taken by decorated ships along the Nile to Abydos in a grand procession. The ships were then placed in chambers near his burial site. This had a symbolic meaning in the belief system of the ancient Egyptians. Ships played a major role in their beliefs. Their supreme god, Ra, traveled across the sky during the day in the form of the sun, and at night he sailed through the underworld in a solar boat. The pharaoh identified himself with Ra, and that is why he needed ships. In the afterlife, this was the only way for him to renew himself, just as the sun rises above the horizon every day. This belief lasted for thousands of years. The most famous pharaoh, Khufu, also had a ship which scientists discovered in 1945. His ship, next to his pyramid in Giza, was about 4 centuries younger than the Abydos fleet, but Khufu's ship was about twice as long. The Great Pyramid in Giza is considered the largest, and the tomb of King Tutankhamun is one of the most famous archaeological discoveries in Egypt, but there are still many secrets hidden beneath the vast desert sands. In 2020, archaeologists discovered a lost city there, describing it as the most important discovery since the tomb of King Tutankhamun was found in 2022. The city of Aten dates back to about 3,000 years ago. Historians hope it will offer them a unique insight into the daily life of ancient Egyptians. The famous archaeologist and Egyptologist Zahi Hawass announced the site as the Lost Golden City. Aten is located about 300 miles south of the Egyptian capital, Cairo, and is close to the famous Valley of the Kings. Archaeologists first discovered sections of mud brick walls spreading in all directions, then they found complete rooms containing tools from daily life. The research team found a bakery, a residential neighborhood, and an administrative area. All these discoveries date back to a time when Egyptian civilization was at the height of its wealth. They were the first to create items from iron. In 1911, scientists discovered a collection of iron beads near a village in Lower Egypt called Al-Aziziyah. These are the oldest known iron artifacts, and the discovery was truly amazing, as the ancients made them by hammering a piece of meteorite into their current shape. The 9 beads were part of a decorative necklace. Today, they are black and corroded, which is completely natural for a piece of jewelry that is over 5,000 years old. These beads are made from an alloy of iron and nickel. Researchers were impressed by the skill of the ancient craftsmen who worked on these beads, and their craftsmanship becomes even more impressive when we realize that they did not know the material came from the stars. The Great Pyramid of Giza also has an amazing feature. An international research group studied the structure's response to electromagnetic radio waves and found that the pyramid has the ability to concentrate electromagnetic energy inside it. This happens inside its chambers, as well as beneath its base, where there is an unfinished underground chamber. It seems that the pyramid's electromagnetic response is related to the properties of limestone, which is the main material used in the construction of the pyramid. These research findings may have practical applications, such as improving the way solar cells and nanosensors work, thanks to this amazing discovery. That's all for today. If you feel your curiosity has been satisfied, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends, subscribe, and if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.